Mozzarella in carrozza is one of my favorite Italian street foods. It literally means mozzarella in a carriage, and the bread is the carriage that carries the cheese. But in my house, it's known as a Jimmy sandwich. My cousin Jimmy was larger than life. He was a true Italian New Yorker, and he loved his food. This was one of his favorite sandwiches, and every time I saw him, he made me one. Slice your mozzarella about 1 centimeter thick. You don't want it to be too thick because you really want it to melt inside the sandwich. We're looking for prime cheese pull. Lay out your bread on your board and then start adding your cheese. I'm using an artisan sourdough bread, but you can use whatever you have on hand. I've made this with every variation of bread, from white Wonder Bread to homemade Italian loaves. It will be delicious no matter what bread you choose, but because it uses so few ingredients, you want to use the best quality you can. You want to try and add it in a single layer, leaving a tiny little bit around the edges so the cheese doesn't melt out, so you may have to break your pieces up to fit. I'm using a hard mozzarella, not the one stored in water. But if you do have the mozzarella that's in water, or even mozzarella di bufala, you'll want to take it out the night before, slice it up, and leave it on some kitchen towel in your fridge. This will help to absorb all of the liquid out so that your bread doesn't get soggy. As much as I love mozzarella, it can sometimes need a little bit of salt, so I'm just going to add a little pinch to the inside of each sandwich. Pop the tops on your sandwiches and give them a firm pressing down. Traditionally, you'd cut off the crusts of your bread, but because I'm using a really nice sourdough and it has a beautiful crust on the edge, I want to leave it. It makes it a little bit more rustic and you've got a little more texture when you bite into it. Set your sandwiches to the side while you prepare your dredging mix. This recipe is quanto basta except for the eggs and the milk, so just use enough flour that it coats the bottom and comes up just a little bit to cover your sandwiches. For each sandwich, you'll need 1 egg, and you'll also need 2 tablespoons, 30 milliliters of milk for each egg. So I'm using a 1/4 cup of milk, about 60 milliliters. I'm also going to add in a healthy pinch of salt to my eggs. And then I'm just using regular fresh breadcrumbs, and I'm going to add a little bit of salt to that too. And if you like, you can add in a little bit of black pepper to your eggs as well. As much or as little as you like, or none at all. Give your breadcrumbs and salt a little toss so that the salt is completely incorporated into your breadcrumbs. With a fork, beat together your eggs and your milk. You're not looking to incorporate any air, you just want them to be nicely mixed together. Traditionally, you would see this deep fried, but to be honest, I absolutely hate the mess. So I'm going to show you how to pan fry it. You could also spray it down with a little bit of cooking oil and pop it in your air fryer. Get your pan onto medium-high heat and add in a pretty good glug of olive oil. You want almost a full coating on the bottom of your pan. Of course, the amount will depend on how big your pan is. Let that slowly start to come up to temperature while you dredge your sandwiches. Time to dredge our sandwiches. Jimmy used to make it really simple by dipping the bread in the egg and frying straight away. But I'm going to show you a few different variations so you can make it just how you like it. You have 3 options here depending on how much time and what ingredients you have in your house. You can go straight into your egg and then into the frying pan. But what I'm going to show you is into the flour and then into the egg and then into the frying pan, or with the addition of the breadcrumbs. Straight into our flour dredge. And make sure to get those edges and then tap off any excess flour. This helps the egg stick to the bread. And then we go into our egg and give it a good press, really let it soak up that egg. And then flip it over just like you would French toast. And then just like that, we're going to pop it into the frying pan. Just like the last one, pop your sandwich into your flour, get the edges, dust off the excess. If you're using a softer bread, you don't have to let it soak as much because it will absorb much quicker. And then into our breadcrumbs. Get those edges and into the frying pan. You'll want to carefully splash some of the hot oil up the sides of your bread so that all of that egg gets cooked. Once you can smell that the bread has really started to toast up, give it a flip. And I like to give them a little press down. Give them another little splash up the sides with the oil. And then after about a minute of cooking on this side, turn your heat down to medium-low for another 2 to 3 minutes so all of the egg cooks and the mozzarella gets really stringy. Have a little look underneath to make sure they're browned, and once they're toasted, take them out of the pan. Ooh, crispy. Who doesn't love a cheese pull? It's so good. Takes me right back to my childhood. If you're looking for more budget-friendly recipes, you have to try my 15 cheap Italian meals. If you found this video helpful, or you liked it in any way, or you just want to say thanks to my cousin Jimmy, head down below and hit the like button, and I'll see you next week.